Thank you so much for coming back. I am so excited. I've got my ace boon coon, my number one, first started off with, and I feel like we're on this journey together as far as entrepreneurship is concerned. This is Evan Foster, and today, well, Evan, take it over and talk to us for a bit about what's been going on with you since last time you came on.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been months since I've been on.
Yeah,
It's been great to see the growth and just your consistency in growing the podcast and
thanks.
even your engagements outside of the podcast. Yeah.
TEDx,
Yep.
TEDx, TEDx. So if you haven't seen it, look it up. It's Are You Opening or Are You Closing Doors? I talk a little bit about my past and how regretfully I was denied some opportunities due to being a formerly incarcerated person. So I see you've been paying attention. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I've tried to keep up.
Yeah, well, I too have been paying attention. And Evan, you recently rebranded.
I did, yes.
Okay.
Partner Up was a marketing agency I started a little over a year ago. And when I first started it, we were working with businesses to create co-marketing campaigns between them and other businesses of the same audience.
Okay.
Pretty quickly into that, maybe 3 months into it, we had a electrician who came to us and wanted that service as well as he wanted us to do his media purchasing.
Okay.
And so instead of closing that door, we opened another door and started working more as a agency.
Okay.
Started researching different routes, different mediums for marketing, and then got into creating whole campaigns and implementing them.
Nice.
Which was far from what Partner Up originally was.
Because it was more marketing. And there's a difference between marketing and advertisement. Can you expound on that a little bit?
But I mean, they overlap.
They do.
We were doing a sort of affiliate marketing for businesses. Advertising, I think some people disagree, but advertising is more of the the direct route to get the word out.
Yeah.
Whereas marketing encompasses both that route, how you're going about it. It encompasses your branding.
A lot more analytics too, right?
Yeah.
A lot more analytics, which I've found to be very informative about what is being said that people are actually listening to, and there's so much more. Like I've said before, everything's cyclical. Like I might have someone on a couple weeks ago about how to purchase a house. And that's, extremely informative to almost everybody who's not already a homeowner. And if you already are, maybe you're going to pick up something different. And then I wanted to have someone come on and talk about generational wealth. Everything kind of ties in. So for the small business owner, myself, you, and I really sometimes touch on it when you're on about how I feel like we started this journey together. Evan had a great idea. It's taken off. I feel as though my idea, is kind of out here and doing its own thing, strictly through the encouragement of people around me and just a strong will to get it done and get it out there, whichever, by any means possible. I didn't make that up. That's Malcolm X. So Evan, we were talking about rebranding, and it was marketing and Partner Up, which I always liked, but I really like the new name more. So tell us a little bit about it, please, and thank you.
Sure. I've known for a while now that we would need to rebrand, and Propel is the new name. Propel Marketing and Talent. Yeah. We're incorporating talent into it later on down the line. And it's been on my mind for a while.
Okay.
I didn't know when the right time would be. And I didn't know when the wrong time was. And I feel that any time is the right time because it's a shift that needed to happen. And there could be loose ends and it could feel like the wrong time. But making that jump is what's most important, and creating that new brand identity.
You know what? I'm so glad that I saw it on LinkedIn. I didn't get a chance to hear it from Evan's mouth, but when I saw it, I said, I got to have Evan on ASAP, and we have to talk about rebranding. Because when I first started this show, actually, me and Evan were in the same branding class. Remember that? And I had just thought my first name's Sarita, my last name's Tosin, and we were supposed to clip some magazines and, get this, whatever we were going to do. And I found this guy who was like a nomad, a current day nomad in Afghanistan. And he was by himself in the desert. And then I had a lion. So I was like, ooh, survivalist tactics. And I I kind of heard like, oh, well, people are going to think you're surviving in the woods. But I was just so gung ho, like, ah. And then someone a lot older, a lot wiser, who was actually, going to help me with some marketing and said, if you're going to do it, now's the time to do it. And it was like, ding, they're listening to me. They're not listening to the title. My name is Sarita and I talk. Sarita Talks. There we go. And it had been months. And I remember I'd even sent Evan a text and I said, Evan, I need to rebrand. Do you have any ideas? He said, Sarita, that's your show. That's your thing. That's your name. And it came to me a lot more naturally than I had thought it would be. And it was a lot easier. And as soon as I made that change, people came out of the woodwork. Were like, oh, I thought so. I kind of thought that. I kind of thought that. So for the people that came out and told me to rebrand, thanks for taking the initiative and knowing that, it was something that needed to be done. And it just took me a little while, but I got it too. I mean, and my learning curve was only like maybe 2 months. And, it was just like, I don't know why. In prison, I used to look up in my thesaurus all the time, words to like basically talk over people's heads, just the COs, So it was like ossified, which meant you were hardened in your ways and you weren't willing to change. And I really felt like I was being kind of ossified. I was being hardened and I just wanted to have the right idea. And sometimes we just need to let that go. How do you feel, Evan?
Well, I'm going to jump back a little bit just on your timing with it. Yeah. I think that if you're going to rebrand, it needs to happen when you've got 1,000 followers or subscribers as opposed to 100,000. Because you may lose people along the way and some may not even understand the reason for the rebranding.
Yeah.
So that other 99,000 needs to come into it with a fresh perspective.
Facts. You dropped some knowledge right there. Because like I said, they're not following the name, but at some point they might be. They might be. So what's the feedback that you've gotten thus far on Propel? Right here, positive.
It's so new that I haven't gotten much feedback. I haven't asked for feedback.
Okay.
At least not to large audiences. I have spoken with other people just about it. And it does encompass what we are now doing as a marketing agency, which is working to propel and facilitate business prosperity.
Same thing though, know?
Yeah. So it's more fitting for what we now are.
Absolutely. And if you're going to bring on talent, wow, I don't want to partner up with you. I want you to propel me, and it meshes. Both titles I feel like really worked, but I can see propel and I've seen it in Evan. I've really seen Evan propel, and I'm sure you might be able to say the same about little old me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And let me tell
you,
thank you. This is the first person that when I started talking about it, he said, I'll help you. I'll help you in any way that I can. And this makes me like kind of choke up because I had resigned from my job to take care of my mom. And I was like, well, I'm going to be a hub client. And I see Evan all the time. And I came and I said, let's put some on the calendar and let's shoot a podcast, and will you help me? And he said, absolutely. And as you know, the first 3 episodes were with Evan. He helped me to get this whole idea off the ground. And that was October. And we've made it so far. The comedy club. Now we're still doing the comedy club. And let me tell you this, me and Evan get to work together. You want to tell him about Wholeness 8?
Yeah. Actually, that's coming up in 4 weeks now.
Yeah.
Andrea Lynn Events, a local event planner, organizer. They are putting together this 8 aspects of wellness, I think it is, called Wholeness 8. Yeah. It was on April 27th, and the host in here is the keynote speaker.
Yes, and then at the middle intermission is going to be Comedy Club of Columbia. So look at that. Look at how cyclical came right back around. So we started off talking just about rebranding, but prior, I always have a conversation with the person who is so gracious enough to come on and talk and hopefully impart some knowledge. And the conversation we were having was about mission and vision and values. And Evan just, came out of nowhere with in my own personal mission and values. So as we're having this discussion, I'd love for, anyone that's listening to think in your mind, what is your mission? What are your values? And do you need a rebrand?
Both personally and professionally.
Yeah.
Have those things detailed out for your own personal life. And there's probably going to be some overlap between the two, but that gives you sort of a stronger will, stronger conviction to pursue what you want to pursue. You've got a purpose.
Yes. If you know what, and sometimes, I've battled depression, and I feel like that's something that a lot of people have dealt with. And sometimes that mission's just got to be to get out of bed. It's just got to get up, get out of bed, and make it through that day, and find every reason that you can to keep going throughout that day. Like a squirrel we've talked about, a tree, just being able to make it out of bed. Because sometimes I remember, when I was in the penitentiary, it was hard. And my rebrand was every day, it seemed like, for a season, where I had to wake up and realize that, hey, this is where I'm at. They've got my body, but they don't have my mind. And we used to say they thought they buried us, but we were seeds. So sometimes, even when you're down and out, rebrand can just transcend on so many different levels, And so I was glad that I saw that he did it, and I'm so glad that I did it as well. Sarita Talks check out my website, www.saritatalks.com. And is there anything you want to shout out about Propel? Can we still put in the same URL, or how are we getting the information about Propel?
Yeah, sure. So our original website, partnerupllc.net, redirects to our new website,
That's
which
right.
is propel-marketing.com. We've got sort of a little bit of background on us there, our mission, our services. We, for the most part, work with businesses that have been around for 10 to 20 plus years that are still only using traditional media. Try and help them. We've got our flagship services called Marketing Innovation, where we sort of act as a outsourced marketing department for that company.
Oh, okay.
We do also work with startups and companies that are bootstrapping. That's more so where we would create a campaign. We'd sit down, start with a discovery meeting, get to know them and their audience, create a campaign, and then consult with them on how to implement that campaign themselves, and sort of try and leave them feeling confident to take what we've prepared and run with it.
Nice. So is there a point, though, where sometimes you have to hold somebody's hand before they can jump off? Are you kind of guiding them more at first, and then they kind of wean themselves off after you've given them a plan, and then maybe check back in, or if they need to check back in? How would that look?
Very much so, actually, because it's out of our comfort zone. And a lot of people, one of the biggest sort of challenges I've seen companies face, both large and small, new and old, is that they don't have revenue coming in, or at least not a considerable amount, but they know that they also need to market to get the word out. And so it's the chicken and the egg.
Yeah, like what comes first? Like, I can't make the money unless I market, but I don't have the money to invest in marketing. What's that look like?
On the small business side of things, there's ways that you can put together a marketing plan that is effective, and it does require much more legwork. And you wouldn't be putting in $1,000 or $2,000 a month like you should be as a small business, or at least a growing business, because that's not always possible.
Yeah.
But that, say, $100 a month that you're putting in can be effective to start building that brand awareness, and then start converting that brand awareness into sales.
What I'm getting from that is you need to supplement that with the legwork. Okay. And I can relate. Okay. I didn't have a lot of money. I didn't know exactly what I was doing, but if someone told me something that sounded right, I started doing it. I used a lot of Google searches. I listened to other people and what they were doing. And guess what? I put it out there too, whatever I had learned, and not the hopes that I would get something back, but it all, it would come back to me in the atmosphere. So yeah, I still, I'm not like, yeah, but I'm willing to put in the work. So if I'm a small business owner and I know I don't have a lot of marketing, maybe I need to put something in a door tag, or what is that, a door hanger or something, depending on what my business is. So basically, just to break it down to size, You've got to be willing to work for it.
Mm-hmm. One example I want to give is,
Yeah.
so say you have $100 to spend per month.
Mm-hmm.
It won't go far unless your sales funnel and your conversion, how you're converting into sales is effective. So how that can be done without paying an agency to do that is learn how to create a solid website, learn how to put things on that website, say a lead generation form, and have it appealing. And then you can spend that $100 a month on social media ads to drive traffic to the website.
Yeah. How do you feel about Google ads?
Google ads are effective.
Okay.
They're effective when paired with other forms of marketing. To the point where if you're running, we'll use Facebook as an example. If you're running, actually, let's use YouTube as an example.
Okay, I love it.
It's more video based. So you're running commercials on YouTube. And people, for the most part, won't pay attention to them. But then as they've seen that same commercial a few times, whenever a need comes up and they Google search, say, house renovators in Columbia, Missouri.
Yeah.
They may not know any house renovators. They've probably never looked that up before. But their memory is going to call back to that commercial they saw. And they may not even know that they saw Columbia renovations from YouTube, but they'll recognize it.
Yes.
They'll know they saw it somewhere.
And you know what? I heard there's death on the second page. The second page of your Google search is where all the companies go to die. So if you can get your search on that first page, would you agree? You've got a much better chance, So I really want to thank Evan for imparting the marketing knowledge, because I feel like you can even use that in a job search. You don't have to be a small business owner, because you are marketing yourself. Would you agree? Even as a small business owner, you're marketing yourself. Large business owner, you're marketing yourself. You're marketing your idea. So when you're going to search for a job, I happen to know somebody who's young and just starting a new job, my son, and everything that I'm telling him is, hey, listen, you have options, but at the same time you want to pursue the ones that are going to pan out for you, and you want to make sure you put your all your effort and grit into those things. Do you feel like that kind of relates, or no?
I do. I think in a business sense, it's more so the business development where you're marketing yourself, where you're in front face to face with someone trying to share the value in what you're pitching to them.
Training, like making sure you're well educated on whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's some correlations.
I went broad there. Just want to talk about my son and his new job. It might be at Harvard. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, I know. He said he could get there for graduate school, but it'd be too expensive. And I'm like, I don't even care. I just want to say my son goes to Harvard. True. Facts. But so marketing, just to round us out, what do they need to know in this moment, propel us into the future, and what that looks like for your company, for Rebrands, and for just your small business owner with that $100? That's a lot. I don't need it in order.
The most important thing is that whatever you're marketing needs to be something that you would be willing to spend that same amount of money on. If not, then your heart's not in it, and you can't successfully provide value to others, at least not with integrity. And so that also, by not doing that, you won't have customers coming back to you. You won't have customers referring your business. You'll have a 1 out of 5 star review on Google.
Yeah, and you'll
be on that second page.
Yeah. That's huge, because let me tell you this, word of mouth is how people advertise. Word of mouth is how people get their money. Word of mouth is where your influence comes from. People come to me and they're like, oh my God, Sarita, you're everywhere. You're doing everything. You're putting in the work, because they see what I'm doing, that word of mouth. Same goes for Evan. So if you, like he says, my heart's in it. I have a mission. I have a mission. I have values. Do you need to rebrand? Do you have a mission? Do you have values? Is the product that is you, or the product that you're selling, does that embody what you're about? Think about these things, because that's basically what Serena Talks is about, imparting some type of knowledge where you're going to take something away. And guess what? You heard it from somebody that was locked up 14 and a half years, and you heard it from somebody who doesn't have that same experience, but he's got the experience enough to teach you about marketing and advertising and rebranding in his new company, Propel. Want to leave us with anything, or mic drop?
I think that was solid. Mic drop.
All right. Take care, Evan. And I just want to thank everybody for coming back. Please come back. Evan will be a return guest, as we so much enjoy him and the knowledge that he is able to impart to us. Take care. Bye-bye.